What's up everyone and welcome to KJ Chats, where I sit down with fellow content creators to discuss a variety of different topics. In this episode, I sit down with the legendary Sector 6 to break down Final Fantasy XVI's latest trailer, Ambition, and we give our thoughts on what we might expect to see moving forward with the series. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit subscribe and like the video. You'll find all the links below to the channel.
It has been 1,500 years since the fall of our forebears. And Valisthea has been slowly dying. Ever since.
I love how the subtitles can never read it correctly either.
Yeah, they're just never right. I want to know what went down 1,500 years ago.
It's on my list.
Further now, but we're in the middle of the Deadlands. The blight sucked this place dry. Meaning no trees, no birds, and no magic.
Darkness spreads as day gives way to twilight. The Mother's flame now all but a flicker.
We cannot live without the blessing of the crystals. And the crystals work their magic through us. You have been blessed, Joshua.
But who shall claim their fading light? The Grand Duchy of Rosaria, bastion of tradition.
At the very least, we must secure Drake's breath.
The Holy Empire of Sanbreque,
That's an important point we'll touch on in a
where
bit.
ambition is divine.
The Imperial banner shall fly over every city in storm. All shall bow before their emperor.
The Dalmekian Republic, whose fortunes shift with the desert sands.
And what of our wise rulers? Goaded into war without any thought as to what chaos it might reap.
The Iron Kingdom, forged in faith and fear.
Their souls were sullied with the stain of ether. I merely cleansed them of their corruption.
Or the Kingdom of Waloed, indomitable in its isolation.
The dark swallows more of the realm with each passing day. And as the fringes fade, the people flock to the mother crystals.
A little Barnaba.
From a single
Yeah.
spark, will the land ignite. In the year 860, the Imperial army will march upon Rosaria. And from
Again, I've
the
got some questions
slaughter
about that bit as well.
shall a new shadow rise. To fall upon the dominants, painting their destinies.
Part of this
He's got
one of the
the
best
vibe.
one. He has,
Yeah,
yeah.
he's got the vibe. He's got the vibe.
I mean, he's Odin, so. I mean,
Summon beasts of great might should command respect, but instead has left us outcasts.
And so I became their puppet. What makes them think they have the right to use us? To leave us to die when our bodies are spent?
I'll crush him! Flay him!
the music is good, isn't it? So imagine that being a battlefield.
It is you who shall bow to me!
Very well.
Yeah, I've got a feeling they're going to go quite
Just the strength of your will.
Rise, ye crownless kings, a reckoning is upon you. A war
We'll get everyone's thoughts on that new
of
one as
the
well.
icons.
I know it's divided opinion on that at the minute.
Been for it. Been for it.
Fiend for it.
That's some trailer, that. Like my hype was at a moderate level. you know, from the previous trailers. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, cool, this looks like it could be a good game. But that trailer has just absolutely shot my hype through the roof for this game.
Yeah,
we want to see
definitely.
more gameplay though, but yeah,
Yeah,
looking real good.
And it's interesting because I was saying to you before we started anyway, so I kind of went through all of the trailers and the stuff that's available ahead of this stream. And going back through the trailers, I've got like a page of notes from trailer 3 and a page of notes from trailer 1. From trailer 2, I've literally just written down Shiva v Titan, Bahamut v Odin, Phoenix v Ifrit, Unknown Icon, Dark Icon. That's all I've written for that second trailer.
Yeah, that was kind of the main focus with the second trailer, wasn't it? It was showing off like all the icon versus icon combat and stuff like that, which was cool. And we got that sneaky little question mark icon as well.
Yes, yeah, Unknown Icon.
Hmm.
Which is interesting because, particularly again, I know we'll probably jump around a lot, so apologies because I, as much as I've written notes, I've not done it in a formatted way. And there's obviously been a lot of talk that the Unknown Icon could be this, as you call it, what do you call it? Fiend for it. But if you look back at trailer 2, and we'll go through the other 2 trailers in a minute as well, and we'll break down the trailers, we'll pause, we'll stop on this. There's a bit in the actual fight there where Ifrit is fighting the Unknown Icon, and he uses Hellfire, and it's like a big stone beast, which you wouldn't naturally say if you were going to mix Phoenix and Ifrit together. You wouldn't naturally say
you wouldn't
big
think
stone.
It'd come off like that, yeah.
So if we go back through this trailer for Ambition, I was like said, I was always hyped just because I love CBU3, but yes, this trailer was the one for me too. And I mean, let's be honest as well. For me, I'm not gonna lie about it. I've hardly spoke about Final Fantasy XVI. Anyone who knows me, for any streams I've been in, through Twitter, for anything, I don't think I've mentioned it once. Watching this trailer made me want to do the stream I'm doing now. That's how good that trailer was. It made me do this. Right, let me put some background chill on.
Find something now. Someone posted a comment the other day, because apparently there are some differences in the Japanese trailer's translation, which obviously there will be, but I'm trying to find it now and I can't find it, and it's quite annoying. Sorry, go on.
That's right. First time I saw this trailer, my God, this is amazing. Exactly that, mate. It looks amazing. So there's a few things I've pulled out from this trailer. I know, Fletch, I know you've done a bit of a dive into this as well, so I'd be really interested to hear your thoughts. And they kind of give us sort of different timelines. So that, the book opens, the voiceover mentions 1500 years since the fall of our forebears. We don't know who the forebears are. Are they? I'm assuming they're in some way related to the crystals. What we've learned from at least the website is there are, I think, 4. I want to say maybe 5 crystals. So I have written them down. So you've got Drake's Head, which is the Holy Empire of Sunbreak. You've got Drake's Spine, which is the Kingdom of Waloed. You've got Drake's Fang, which is the Dhalmekian Republic. You've then got Drake's Tail, which is the Crystalline Dominion. And then you have the Mother Crystal, as it's called, which is Drake's Breath, which is controlled by the Iron Kingdom. Although Rosaria actually pull their power from this Mother Crystal, it's actually owned by the Iron Kingdom. So there are 5 crystals that they've made us aware of. Whether or not these are just large crystals, there's maybe smaller ones throughout, but these are kind of related to as the 5 main ones, and they're all Drake something or another. So I wonder if they're called Drakes because of some divine beast, maybe.
Yeah, this is the weird thing with Drake. It puts you in mind of Bahamut more than anything else, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's some sort of winged beast.
But then we've already got Bahamut, which is like, oh, okay then. So
yeah,
it can't be that.
And
I mean, I've seen shouts. I'm sure I saw someone saying something along the lines. It could be something like Tiamat or something like that, which would be interesting.
It would be, but it's odd to have, because if you go back over the lore of Final Fantasy, Bahamut is the king of dragons.
Yeah, you would.
So you wouldn't put Tiamat.
You
wouldn't put Tiamat above Bahamut, would you? I saw 3 really good trailers this past week: 16, Silent Hill 2 remake, and Resident Evil 4. I'm excited for next year. Yeah, I know.
The next 18 months are insane.
Yeah, exactly that. I saw the Resident Evil 4 remake trailer, and that looked nuts. That looks so good and so clean. Not that I play Resident Evil games because they scare the shit out of me. I like watching other people play them, because then if I do get scared, it's fine, because I'm not actually playing it.
You get to watch them get scared, and that's fine.
And that's fine. Like I said, Resident Evil 8, I loved watching Resident Evil 8, and I love watching people play it. I don't like playing it myself, though. So, very true, Fletch. Very true. You know, on this channel, we love Zelda, so that is very true. So, at the start, again in the voiceover, when they're talking about, obviously it's been 1500 years since the fall of our forebears, Valisthea is dying. They reference something called the Blight, which is taking over essentially Valisthea. It's destroying it. We don't know if that's something that is slowly happened over that 1500 years, or if it's something new that's come on. You know, like a cancer.
Something made it speed up.
Yeah, is it like a cancer to the land? We don't know what that is. It's just it's there at the minute. They reference something again. The mother's flame is all but a flicker.
Yeah,
you assume that's referencing the
bit.
mother crystals. Is the only thing I can think, and with the Blight destroying it. There's reference as well throughout again the media that's available around people draw their power from the crystals.
Yeah.
So is it a case of they've been drawing on this power for so long now that essentially these crystals are running dry, they're running empty. It's not an endless power supply forever, and we're getting to the end of essentially their life. But again, they didn't really elaborate on it. They didn't give us any more detail.
Yeah, it definitely feels like it could be something along the lines of, you know, like a fossil fuels kind of thing, similar to what we've got going on in the world right now. But yeah, it's that dark crystal that we see in the trailer. Like, it looks like a dark crystal to me. You know, when they're talking about the Blight for the first time, I don't know. I don't know if that's a crystal that's been drained of all its energy and it's just kind of inert now, and that's maybe...
Is it this one?
Just there, yeah, that one.
Yeah, so yeah, and this is... So the voiceover for this bit is that...
a weird one.
It's the Deadlands.
Yeah.
We're in the Deadlands now. The Blight has sucked it dry, and that's when they say the Mother's Flame is all but a flicker. Darkness spreads as day gives way. I think is it day gives way to twilight or something is the next line.
Something along those lines, yeah.
So yeah, to your point, you know, like you said, is this a crystal that is running low? Is it something that's been infected by... And again, it could be. We don't know what this Blight is. So...
Yeah, it could be something that's
the Blight like a disease and actually...
And corrupted
the crystal, which has made it... Although, again, to that point, you know, there is talk, isn't there, that Ifrit is a dark icon. And if you go back to the first trailer, the last spoken line of the first trailer is that voice that says, "Awaken, Ifrit." So it sounds like there's somebody behind this, who is created. Whether it is a dark icon, or whether they're behind the Blight, they've caused the Blight. Whether it's an infection, and they've somehow managed to get Ifrit. I don't like to say it. I'm only saying Ifrit because that's how they said it in the video, and I hate saying it because all my life I've said Ifrit.
I think the big thing with Ifrit is we need to figure out what the deal is, because like there's clearly, like, from what we see in the trailers, there's the two of them. You've got like the normal Ifrit, and then you've got like that darker Ifrit that's got like the purple eyes. I can't remember if it was the first or second trailer that we could properly make that out on. But there's definitely something that's going on with, like, I don't know if it's like a mechanic of Ifrit to be able to fucking like do something, you know, like take the other icon's powers or something like that, or maybe they do something to the crystal.
Well, that's what I was going to do. So, and it could be something.
So rather than them taking the icon, they do something to the crystal. So like maybe Dark Ifrit comes along and corrupts a region's crystal, or something like that.
And that's a really interesting point. And it's kind of where I was going to with my bit, is that I could have missed it, and you might know this. So Clive, obviously our protag,
the mighty Cleve.
The mighty Cleve. How does he get icon powers?
Well, this is the thing. Yeah, it's not really.
He's not a dominant.
explained. Yeah, well, everyone thought he was going to be a dominant. I think it was, if I remember. Like they expected that Clive was going to be the one that would be the dominant, and then it kind of bypassed him and went to Joshua. So it's possible that. See, it depends what the deal is with Ifrit. Is Ifrit like a naturally recurring thing that happens every so often as far as icons? Like someone becomes the dominant of Ifrit and then someone else at the same time becomes the dominant of Dark Ifrit, potentially?
Well,
or is it something that someone's done to him?
I'd assume no, based on the fact that, and again, we don't know what these times are. You know, there is this 1500 years before, you've got the year 860.
Yeah, there's a huge gap.
You've got the year 860 that they destroy. Cheers, Jimmy. The man, look, see, Mod's doing his work. Hey, Jimmy.
Hi, Jimmy.
Hi, Jimmy. I've completely lost what I was saying now. That's the power of Jimmy. I've completely lost what I was saying. Yeah, so I think it's, again, trailer 1.
Yeah.
I know they kind of touch on it later, but in trailer 1, he says a second fire icon. How is this possible? It's impossible. So I don't think Ifrit is a known icon.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, this event that supposedly happened 1,500 years ago, that could maybe revolve around Ifrit, and from that point, Ifrit's then gone. And now, 1,500 years later, Ifrit arises again.
Yeah, and that could be
the trigger and the catalyst.
And that could relate to Awaken Ifrit. Somehow, somebody brings Ifrit back.
Yeah,
I like that. That's a really good point. Hey, Mephisto.
Hey, Mephisto.
So I like that one. That's a really good idea, actually.
Because it could go either way. It could be that someone's caused this to happen.
Yep.
Or it was kind of whatever happened 1,500 years ago basically set a timer, and now that timer's run out and Ifrit's back.
Yeah.
It could be one of the two things, but yeah, that's kind of what it's feeling like, because it seems like everything's obviously the fighting with each other here and there for like the ether and the crystals and control and things like that. Like we know the Sambrek, they're trying to take over the whole of that side of Valastea because, you know, empires do what empires do.
Just getting this one for Jimmy.
But it seems like it was reasonably peaceful before that, and now this has happened. Everything's kind of kicking off. All the nations are kind of being spurred into action, that kind of thing. Fiend for it.
Exactly, and that's the thing. And again, because of the time skips, you've got this 860 where it seems to be that's the bit where we have, you know, the Ifrit and Phoenix fight. What we don't then know is how long later do we see adult Clive?
Yeah, there is a time skip. I'm not sure if it says anything about it.
No, I couldn't find anything, but
it feels like a good 5 to 10 years, though, at least.
Yeah.
Like, looking at how much he's aged, I'd say a good 5 to 10 years.
So I personally, this picture here, I don't think that's one person.
Oh no, I think that's an amalgamation of 3 different things, if I'm being completely honest with you. I think the top bit is Ifrit and Phoenix fused. That's why you've got Ifrit, you've got the wings. The bottom bit, I don't know what that is.
So I think I think that's Phoenix's wings.
Yeah, because it does look a little bit like wings when you get out to the end.
And flames here. Obviously Phoenix from the flames. That is clearly Ifrit. But they're not Phoenix's wings.
Yeah, they're different wings. Those wings are very different.
Yeah.
And you've got Ifrit's horns seem like they're a little more elongated as well.
So if we take it back a couple of frames.
And I have seen the shout that it's Diablos, potentially. I have seen that shout a few times.
I know Onion's a big fan of that one. I'm not sure.
I think that one kind of ties in. There was a leak in June that came out. Someone who was apparently a voice actor, not a voice actor, sorry. They were working on the translation for the game. Went to Reddit because they finished the translation and they all got fired, which I'm not sure what you expect to happen once you've finished your job. You're probably going to then move on to another job.
Yeah.
You know, that makes sense to me.
Standard, right?
Yeah, but they've kind of had a moment, gone on Reddit and spoiled about 80% of the plot on Reddit. Like, this is as much as I can remember off the top of my head. Bam. And it mentions things like Diablos and stuff like that in that spot. I won't go too deep into it. I've not got it in front of me or anything right now. But some of it matches up, a lot of it doesn't, and I reckon a lot of it you could have speculated on from the trailers that we'd already had by that point. So
yeah, I
don't know the validity of that.
Fletcher's made a good point there that if it is Diablos at the top, it's weird that you've then got no Ifrit or Phoenix at all. And we'll go through who we think these are in a second.
And the only thing you could say on that is if Phoenix and Ifrit fuse, they become Diablos. But even then, that's just weird.
That is wild, isn't it?
Yeah,
to have
it just feels weird.
Two
fire icons become essentially a gravity icon. Because that's what Diablos has always been, pretty much.
To that point of fire icon, I'm just rearranging my notes here. And Jimmy, your point about them being connected is a good point, and I'm not sure if you were a minute ago when Six was saying about that we think that maybe Ifrit's not been seen for a long time.
Yeah.
You know, since when we had the fall of the forebears, I think it says 1,500 years ago, which is why they're probably shocked. So,
and we probably will find something in the game, you know, like we'll stumble upon a temple or something like that that's got depictions of Ifrit in it, like, oh my god, how did we not see this coming?
Well, this book,
that.
This book's going to be somewhere, isn't it? These murals are going to be somewhere.
Oh, I hope so. It's a good book.
I mean, it'd be cool, wouldn't it, if they are? So on here, it's interesting that... So we'll go through the ones we know. And actually, each of the icons themselves, they have a description within the Final Fantasy XVI website. The ones that we 100% know, they've given a description to, in sense of... And I'll go through them. So if we start with... We know this is clearly Odin. So Odin is Warden of Darkness, is his description. So you've got Odin as Warden of Darkness. Bahamut is Warden of Light.
Yeah.
That is Bahamut. I'm not.
That's Bahamut.
I'm not disputing that.
Yeah, that's all the conversation. Pez.
Yeah, Pez. That's Bahamut.
Oh, Pez.
Titan. He's the icon of Earth. Phoenix is referred to as the icon of fire, which is why, again, the whole thing with Ifrit is a bit confusing.
Yeah.
What we don't then have is, I think this is Shiva. I know you said potentially Garuda. I think this one's Garuda based on the wingspan here.
And the other ones, Either way, I think it's either way.
You got
one of them
Garuda
Shiva, one of them.
So Shiva is I'm assuming, icon of ice.
And that's Jill, isn't it? Jill Warwick.
Yes.
I think.
So, and that's only based off of a clip we see in this trailer, which I'll go to in a second.
It's interesting that we see her captured as well. That was quite an interesting.
It's to do with the sword. She has a sword. So you see her with the sword in this clip there. And if you see the first time we see Shiva here, I think it's here, just before she does what looks like diamond dust.
Yeah.
Is it just before this bit? It's where they kind of all turn in.
A bit forward, I think. There
you go. That's the sword is there. The face looks similar.
She seems like she's doing that thing that we see Clive do, you know, where he stays in his normal form, but he channels an attack. So we see
that
him attack with like the Phoenix wing and
in
stuff.
This Garuda fight as well. So in this fight here with Titan, he's half Titan, half thing.
Yeah, so they can kind of use a bit of the power, or they can go crazy and go all out like that.
And there's also there you go, and that one there with Garuda, where she's got the wings of Garuda. So I'm sure Jill is now Shiva.
Definitely.
If we go back to the mural, slightly up. There we go.
I think the only one is Ramu.
So Ramu, they've introduced the guy to us. They haven't told us who he is.
Yeah.
What is interesting with Ramu is, and I'm sure other people probably picked it up as well. You know, we see a clip of a man's hand turning into stone when they're talking about how basically their powers erode them, and I think
it looks like
Aubrey called it out in the Japanese translation. They actually say they turn to stone.
Yeah.
He's got the two
swords. I need
swords.
to get this translation.
He's got the two swords that Ramu has when we see him turning into Ramu. So that is Ramu that is turning into stone, which is interesting because the whole Clive getting his abilities thing, it could be something that can be passed on to people, which isn't something they've necessarily said. It's kind of you're born into being a dominant. But actually, if we see Ramu starting to turn into stone, is it something he can pass on to other people? I'm not sure. They all seem to be able to do partial transformations, which I think, that is super cool.
Yeah, it is good.
Yeah, it's really cool. the only question marks we've got is obviously we assume that's Ramu. It's just a very
I'd say it's
hard,
Ramu.
it's hard to see. This one here, this very much does look
Gotta
like
be
Leviathan, but
Has to
Leviathan
be.
is not mentioned anywhere else. In the previous trailer, we got a breakdown of all the icons, and they even had the little song, didn't they? It was
it did the names,
and we never got Leviathan. So it's interesting that Leviathan is there. But on the topic of those icons, now I went through the icons and I put down where they are. So you've obviously got Phoenix is Joshua that we know, so he's in Rosaria. Ifrit, we don't know who he belongs to, where his allegiance is, or what he is. Bahamut is Holy Empire of Sombrek. Odin is Walud. Garuda is also Walud, although interestingly, Benedicta wasn't originally from Walud.
No.
So she was from, I think it was like just sort of some island basically, and she is now like the head of Walud Special Forces. So it's interesting that Walud themselves now have got two icons. Ramu, again, has no allegiance. He doesn't belong to anyone. Leviathan, we don't know if there is a dominant for Leviathan. We've not seen it. We just have it in this mural. Shiva is Jill. Again, Jill has no real allegiance. She's kind of in Rosaria. And then Titan, we know, is obviously Hugo, who is part of the Dalmatian Republic. Maybe Leviathan is the Drake everyone's talking about. Levi has a history of being an in-game monster about as much as it appears in summer. Yeah, I mean, that is a good shout. And when I was going through the whole Drake thing and crystals earlier, I wondered if it was a reference to Leviathan, almost, the first icon. But the only thing that makes me skeptical about that is you'd imagine if she was, I say she, it could be a boy, if Leviathan was the first icon, you'd expect them to be at top of the mural.
Yeah, it's a weird... I mean, like, looking at the way things are facing off against each other, kind of, in the mural, it's almost like Leviathan is interacting more with what's going on at the top, rather than the rest of it. Yeah. But, at the same time, like, you can see that each one of them's kind of got like a halo around the head, to kind of indicate that they've got a dominant, essentially. That's kind of what it's indicating to me. And Leviathan's kind of got one, but it's really faint in the top right, if you can see.
Yeah, Mephisto, that's a really good shout. And that's something that crossed my mind as well.
Maybe, yeah.
I forget his name. Is it, I've written it down. It's got, where have I put it? Where's my... it's the...
Shiva's is very faint as well.
The dot
I think
triangle.
Mostly because of the colour behind it, but it is definitely faint. You can just about see it.
Yeah, it's just there. To the doctrine, the person who we know kills the other dominants, I wondered if he could be a secret dominant himself, and he could be the dominant of Leviathan. Which is why we don't see him, because it's not something that he wants people to know. Because he's this, we don't trust dominance, we don't have dominance, we kill them. And I can imagine you get to a fight and he's like, right, I'm going to kill Clive or something. And then all of a sudden he just whips into Leviathan and you're just like, the fuck?
Yeah, because he does say, I mean, he says that he'd purged people of the bane of the ether or whatever it was. And it's like, is he talking about like he's basically killed some fucking kid who's a dominant? Yeah. Or is he saying that he's killed another dominant? And if that's the case, he must be pretty strong. If that's,
exactly. You can't just go around killing people, these really strong people. And to your point, Mephisto, they are islands. The Iron Kingdom is made up of 5 islands.
Yeah.
So there is water around them. So Leviathan being him isn't too far of a stretch. What I do want to get to on here is and this is where we're now gonna go into the put your tinfoil hats on. Let's get our theories on. So for this one, and I reference the first trailer. So what we see, and this is the whole time skip thing now. So we don't know much about the time skip. And what I want to do is I want to go back and watch the first trailer, because there's something I want to pick up on there. So let me just get the first trailer. And we'll watch this one again. Then I'll do my talking. It is interesting watching this one back again with what we know now.
Yeah, it's definitely fun. It was the same with Remake, like watching the trailers back and being like, oh, right.
You all know the target. Shiva's dominant. And only the dominant.
How do we even know the girl will be among us?
Our kind do not question.
Now we know who the Shiva's dominant is now. I question whether
Sergeant,
Clive does at that point.
Let's summon their icon. Icon? That thing's a bloody mountain.
Dead.
Our foe will not really.
So this tells me that this little mission to capture Jill for them doesn't go well, and the Dalmex get her.
Well, I don't think so, because, and this is where I'm going to jump around now, so if I go back to this trailer, and there's a bit we see with Jill.
Yeah, where she's being pushed along.
Exactly. I wonder if this is before that fight, because they're in the mountain range, which is the Dalmekian world, and we see a fight between Shiva and Ifrit, and she uses the out because Jill voices over this bit and says, "And so I became their puppet." I wonder if she's being forced to fight for whoever these people are against the Dalmekians, and that's why we see the fight between Shiva and Titan.
Possibly.
But obviously we don't know who these people are. They seem to be wearing similar.
See, the vibe for me is that these are the Dalmex after that fight, but yeah.
But then why would Shiva fight Titan if they're the Dalmekians? It doesn't make any sense. At that point, because this is in the future, because Jill is an adult, so this is after the time
she's
skip.
grown up now.
And that's one of the things that I was going through earlier is, and this is like I said where we're going to come to the theory now, is what happens between 860 when we see the fight. We assume, and this is my assumption, and I could be wrong here, I assume that Joshua dies.
Yeah, I definitely got that vibe, because if we go back to that first trailer, you see that scene towards the end of it where like the Dark Ifrit is literally just ripping someone apart, and you get that awful low-def blood spray that kind of comes out.
Exactly. Yeah.
But it makes you think, right, Joshua's dead, fair enough.
Yeah, see, there's a good point there. So Fletcher and Mephisto have just said about them carrying axes, and that's the sign of Iron Kingdom on their banner. So I think she's working for the Iron Kingdom here. I think the Iron Kingdom, are going to attack the Kingdom of Dalmekia. Where's Dalmekian? I can't even. You know what I mean? Basically, Titan. They're going to attack Titan.
Yeah.
Who Clive is now working for, I don't know.
Yeah, he seems like he's kind of freelancing a bit at the minute.
They're being told to kill Shiva's dominant. What will be interesting though is, I'm assuming Clive doesn't know that Shiva's dominant is Jill, because obviously they grew up together.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming he doesn't know it's Jill, otherwise he wouldn't be going along with a mission to kill Jill. And I think that's how we get that fight.
Did they say kill or did they say capture?
Well, they say our target is the dominant, only the dominant.
What if it's a rescue mission? So what if she's been taken from them, and they're now trying to rescue her, and she's the target? We go in, we get her, we get out, and that's why he's saying that's the target.
Yeah,
just the dominant.
this is what he says.
You all know the target. Shiva's dominant. And only the dominant.
How do we even know the girl will be among us?
Yeah, target gives.
Our kind do not question.
Yeah, how do we even know the girl will be among us?
But then it's interesting because if that was the case, if they were, say, assassins who were hired to kill Shiva's dominant, why would he freak out when he sees how big Titan is?
Yeah, they should really be expecting the situation. Do you know
There's a bit in a minute, isn't it? He goes about the Titan. He's like, "That's not a Titan. That's a mountain."
Let's summon their icon.
Yeah, potentially this is after the first time skip, because we do see Shiva free and fighting later on, and
Yeah, so something obviously happened. And again, this is where the whole time skip, we don't understand what's what. We don't know how we've ended up in this situation.
And the other thing is as well, the first section is going to be reasonably long because we see Clive in combat. Like the fight against the Marlborough is pre-time skip Clive.
Yeah, I think we're going to have almost that pre-time skip is going to be your tutorial, isn't it? That's going to be, these are the basics.
The first 10 hours, maybe.
It's going to be your basics of combat. You know, you see him fighting a Marlborough, you see him fighting some other bits and pieces. You know, I think there's like a little, like a goblin or an orc or something. So I think that's going to be that bit. You're going to have your first icon v icon battle is going to be Phoenix against Ifrit. I think you're going to the point where we think that Joshua dies, you're going to lose that battle. But I think it's there to give you the mechanics of the battle, because I think, and I can't remember what trailer it is, I think it's the first one. No, it's the second one. When you see the fighting, there's a bit where Ifrit's got a tiny bit of health left and you're controlling Phoenix. He then does Hellfire, and I think it wipes out all of your life.
Yeah, I remember the hit just kind of,
just your life just go boom. So I think that's just going to be your, you know, this is how you do icon. So what's going on here? Probably shortly after the first time skip. Yep. It's possibly they actively hunt dominance as opposed to just killing the ones that are born. I think it's a rescue because you can see other captives with them. So do the same, not to mind the other. Yeah, that's a good shout.
Yeah, because there's a few younger people just at the far right of the screen, and
and like a few kids they could be working for the geezer who is Odin Barnabas, because there's a clip where they're in some sort of council room. And Garuda's talking to someone, and you've got Barnabas sat down. Garuda walks out the room, and it looks like it's Jill that stood next to Barnabas. Do you think Joshua dies or just turns into Phoenix and flies away? Just goes, fuck this shit. See you later.
I'm done. See you.
I'm bailing. That was a theory we have, and this is the world that is missing Phoenix. It's God of Life and Rebirth. I think he dies. I think he gets absolutely annihilated because he's a child and doesn't know how to control the power of the icon.
Initially, before the trailer, I was thinking Ifrit's trying to replace Phoenix as the fire icon, so it makes sense that it would kill Phoenix. But now with like the additional context that we've received from this trailer, I don't know.
Should we watch the end of this trailer? Just see if it gives us any additional context. Dyes his hair and becomes Barnabas. Let's watch this one again.
Forces Phoenix to cosplay as a horse.
Our foe will not relinquish their mother crystal easily. This will be a bitter fight.
And again, that relates to... I know I said we're going to watch it and then I paused it straight away. But again, that relates to a bit in the... I think it's the new trailer. And the bit I mentioned on earlier with Rosaria not having a crystal. So Rosaria don't have a crystal. And on the website, it's mentioned that they are suffering. So Rosaria seems to be the Dominion that is suffering at the most because of the blight at the minute. They seem to be in real dire straits as a result. They don't have their own crystal.
Given what we've seen in the trailer, I would assume Rosaria probably falls.
And that's what I was going to ask.
That would be my assumption.
That's literally the question I was going to ask. So they seem to be doing it. We see clearly, and this is some of the things that this is fact they've given to us, but some of it doesn't make sense. So we know that Rosaria wants Drake's Breath, which is the Mother Crystal, which is held on a volcanic island, which is owned by the Iron Kingdom. The Iron Kingdom have that island. It's their crystal.
Yeah, because they're relying on it completely.
Exactly. Yeah. Rosaria are now in dire straits. They don't have access to a crystal. What looks like Joshua's dad, I don't think he's been given a name, but Joshua's dad, or Cerberus. Joshua's dad says that they need the crystal. They're relying on the crystal, and basically they have to take the crystal. So it sounds like Rosaria is preparing to move on the Iron Kingdom. But what we see in 860 is the Empire, which we know the Empire is the only empire that can be is the Holy Empire of Sanbreath. That's the only people that can be
the only one that's called the Empire.
They call it the Imperial Empire. So when they get attacked by Imperial troops, like we see the Imperial Dragoon, and also we know that Dion Lesage is a Dragoon. So it makes sense that Imperial Dragoons. So in 860, the Imperial army invade Rosaria. That's not the Iron Kingdom attacking Rosaria, and that's when Joshua comes into the Phoenix and we see Ifrit. The question is Ifrit working with the Empire, or is he just a byproduct of what's happened and happens to be there, or somebody else at play? But we know
the Empire triggered it, maybe.
But we know that the Imperial Empire attack Rosaria. What we don't know is why, because all we've heard up to this point is Rosaria wants the crystal from the Iron Kingdom. So yet they get attacked by the Imperial Empire. I can only assume it's because of the start of trailer 3, where we see, I'm assuming, the lead of the Empire talking to Dion, saying basically, we're the Empire, we can breed new people.
Yeah,
we want to take over the whole world. Basically, is what he's saying. I think they're saying they want what seems to be all of, is it Storm? They want all of Storm because currently Waloed have all of Ash.
Yeah.
So they've kind of said they want all of Storm, which is an interesting conflict as well, because if they want all of Storm and Waloed have all of Ash, we do see in the Icons fighting trailer Bahamut fighting Odin.
Yep.
Which would indicate
it
the
looks
Empire...
like that conflict happens at some point.
Which looks like Waloed and the Empire are going to fight at some point.
Yeah.
But we don't know why, we don't know when. Same as we don't know why the Empire have taken over Rosaria. Is it just because they want to take it over? It doesn't make any sense. But then it does pose that question of what happens in the immediate aftermath of this Joshua Phoenix versus Ifrit fight. We assume Joshua dies and they lose. We assume Rosaria falls because Clive is now working for somebody.
Yeah,
Jill,
he seems freelancing. He's got that weird tattoo on his face as well,
which we don't know what that means yet. Jill is a captive of somebody, and we don't know how any of that happens, and then we don't know what that time skip is, what that period looks like. Let's see, what's Jimmy saying? If that cute dog turns into Cerberus, I'll die. Everyone's asking if the dog dies or not. No one is asking, will the dog grow 3 heads? Little dogs are always big, scary monsters in their own minds. These Final Fantasy XVI names sound very good to me as well. He's guarding Joshua in the underworld. Solved. There we go. That's the plot of 16. So again, they even here, this will be a bit of fight. They're talking about the Iron Kingdom, attacking the Iron Kingdom. We don't know how or why the Empire move in and fight instead.
Kind of feels to me like the Empire are probably leaning on Rosaria anyway, and then that's therefore made Rosaria think, right, we're using this crystal, we're taking power from this crystal, but it's not secure at the minute, and if we're going to have a chance to fight the Empire, we need to secure this crystal. So then they kind of justify a war on 2 fronts almost, which is foolish. And then I think Ifrit kind of takes advantage, like whoever's in control of this Dark Ifrit, which we assume is that hooded guy, the man on fire, that kind of guy. We assume it's him. He kind of uses all of this to his advantage, which then makes me think: is he pulling strings in the background potentially?
I think there's someone pulling. I think there's someone pulling the strings of the man on fire. I think he's just a puppet.
You think he's just a puppet?
I think the man on fire, the hooded guy we see, I think he is just a puppet. I think he's being controlled
someone else
by somebody else that we don't know who that is. Because and I'm based that purely off the line at the end of this trailer. So if we watch this trailer again, like I said,
you should not be out of doors. We have discussed this. Come, Joshua. Your father will be expecting us.
I am Joshua's shield. I'm sworn.
Hooded guy is opposite Arden. He's a patsy. So here we go. I think this is going to be tutorial battles, isn't it? It's going to be...
What do you mean you refuse?
This bit here, look.
Did you not?
So you'll see
your swords to our cause.
You'll see Benedicta and... what's it called?
What does it matter?
Barnabas and Jill.
So this feels like it's that Central Kingdom, the Crystalline Dominion, where they all kind of have a little bit of a say in what's going on there and stuff like that.
Yeah, so...
It's like there's some sort of council going on.
Yeah, there's a council between nations, but they didn't specify who the nations are.
Yeah.
And actually, I think if we look at... That's a really good point, actually, because if you go here to here, look, you've got that there is Sambrek. I'm assuming that's Phoenix. That is that one, which would mean that is Odin, which kind of gives the impression that
the black and
everyone,
white sides,
apart from the Iron Kingdom,
is involved. Yeah,
is involved in the Crystalline Dominion, because it does say here, it sits at the heart of Valestir, built around the tallest of all the Mother Crystals, Drake's Tail, Many blood battles were fought for control of this small plot of land due to its strategic importance till the warring realms finally agreed to an armistice. As part of the peace treaty, the islands around Drake's Tail became an autonomous domain led by a council of representatives from the surrounding nations, each realm enjoying equal claim to the Mother Crystal's blessing. No dominant makes their home there. So that could be a really good point, actually, have a central council where essentially the dominants seem to sit on there.
I call bullshit on that no dominant as well. There'll be something.
Leviathan.
Yeah, there'll be something that comes out.
Without the blessing of the Mother Crystal, we cannot defend
See,
our realm from
that
the
was
spread
there.
of the blight.
Barnabas and Jill was stood, like, if you go back a second,
The spread of the blight.
I'm sure that's Jill there. It looks similar.
Probably.
She's got a white
Probably, yeah.
dress and a darkish
Yeah,
hair.
probably.
So it looked like, to your point, to Mephisto's point about Jill being saved. Well, clearly she's in some sort of council meeting here later on. So,
Although this could be pre-time skip. You never know.
So, Fletch, no, we think it's the Empire. So,
Yeah, I think the Empire are leaning on
Sunbreak.
Rosaria, and therefore Rosaria are trying to take control of the crystal they use, but the crystal they use is in the Iron Kingdom's territory. So they kind of siphon their ether from the the Iron Kingdom. Essentially. Yep. The Iron Islands. It's not Game of Thrones. It's not Game of Thrones.
Not Game of Thrones. Wrong one. But
it
no,
still hurt.
I'm in the same. But I don't think it's the Iron Kingdom. I think Rosaria were planning to attack the Iron Kingdom, but they've been attacked by the Empire of Sanbreque. In between. Jimmy, I thought the same as that. However, since watching the trailers again, I don't think so anymore. So I originally, I remember Six was saying to you in your stream the other day that I had a theory about the hooded guy. Remember we were talking about it, and I don't think they're the same person anymore. So I did think that the leader of the Iron Kingdom in his robes was the same as the hooded guy, the Man on Fire. But actually, the Man on Fire is very, very young in the clip we see of him turning into Ifrit. So for him to have aged as much as he has to then be the old guy, you would expect Clive, Jill, and everyone else to be equally as old, but they're not.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's the same person.
I think the robed guy is something. He might be being controlled by someone else, but he's definitely he's
not defend our realm from the spread.
He's going to be mega important.
He is going to be mega important. And you see much more of him.
He's going to be that guy that you fight over and over again. I think you're going to keep encountering it.
So, Jimmy, to your point. So why I don't think this is the Iron Kingdom is because the Imperial army are a bunch of dragoons, and you're being attacked by a dragoon. So it's got to be, it's got to be the Imperial. I keep forgetting what it's called.
The Empire of
Sanbreque. Yeah, the Imperial Empire of Sanbreque. That's it. I want to see Fat Chocobo. That's just me. I'm Fat Chocobo.
So they're sitting the dragoons. Imperial vipers. Do they really mean to invade us?
And again, they sound shocked that the Imperial have attacked us. You know, if they're planning to attack the Iron Kingdom, you would expect the Iron Kingdom to attack you back. But if you've been invaded by somebody else, that would cause the shock that they're going, are they really going to attack us?
It makes me think that the Hooded Man's kind of gathered this information, presented this information to the Empire in some way, kind of goaded them into attacking so that then he can go in and do his thing and kill Phoenix. That's what it feels like to me.
Also, I'd be interested to get your thought on this. Do we think... So this is obviously Joshua's dad.
Oh, he's dead, mate.
No, he's dead.
So
dead. This guy killing him, is it just a chance that he's wearing red, or has he been killed by one of his own men? Because he's wearing red armour.
It's possible.
Which obviously the Rosaria is red, and everyone else we've seen from
in Rosaria has been red. Yeah, they've each had their own colours.
Just pure silver. And he's got red on him, so has he been killed by his own man?
Been betrayed by one of his own there, potentially.
Or, and this is something, literally, this theory's literally just come to my head as we're talking.
Is someone controlling him?
I wasn't going to say that. I was going to say, is Ifrit already there and big and bad and fighting shit at the minute? And then he's doing that to get Joshua pissed off to release Phoenix. Because throughout some of the clips we see later, when they turn into their icon, they rage. It's like a Super Saiyan transformation, isn't it? They go and turn. Ifrit's going to destroy everything. The only chance they've
there is
got.
something about that I heard, which is I can't remember what it was in, but that when a certain icon is near another icon, it triggers this rage in them.
And you see,
I'm sure I've seen something like that written somewhere.
I mean, and what's gonna, and there's also, and again, it's because I've watched them so many times this afternoon. I spent like about 2 hours watching these trailers over and over again earlier. There's a bit in one of the clips now, I think it's trailer 3, where you hear a voiceover and they're shouting, "Joshua, we need Phoenix," or something like that. They're shouting, they need Phoenix.
Do. Yeah.
I wonder if they've done that to literally be like, "Get him out, we need him out," and he ain't coming out. He ain't coming out to play. So they're like, "Right, your dad's dead. Now turn into Phoenix." Stab him up. Dad's dead. Do you think Bahamut will be one of the first icons we fight? I think Garuda's the first icon we fight.
Yeah, I don't think this ends up being a fight. I think this ends up being a bloodbath.
Yep.
And then we don't do shit until... And it does seem like it's Garuda that we encounter first.
Because they talk about Clive and Benedicta meeting on a path.
But that then makes me think, do we then encounter Odin next?
It would make sense, because if they're going to start working together and you go to Waloed, and we do see clips, I personally think the first two are going to be Titan and Garuda.
I mean, could it be?
Let's be honest, they're not going to give us Odin and Bahamut straight off the bat, are they? Let's be honest.
Like that scene that we've just seen, that council meeting, that's pre-time skip. Everything goes down.
No, because Jill's old in that one.
Oh yeah, so if it is,
it's going to be post-time skip.
Kills it. But disregard that then. But what I was thinking was, what if after the time skip, Sanbreque have taken over that side of the continent? So pre-time skip, they want to, and then post-time skip, they actually have. And that's why we end up siding up with Benedicta, and then potentially Odin next to fight against them. And reclaim Rosaria, potentially. Maybe that's what Clive's big goal is. I think we fight Odin at level 4. Yeah, because you can see the levels in some of the trailers as well, can't you?
Yeah, I'm sure Garuda and Titan are going to be the first two, let's be honest. They're not going to give us...
Yeah, it seems like we're going to encounter them.
We ain't going to get anyone big straight off the bat, are we? You never do you? Bahamut's like the last summon you get in basically every Final Fantasy
I don't
game.
think we'll get Bahamut. Bahamut's going to be like probably the toughest fight of the normal icons, I would guess. That's probably going to be like right, we've done this bit, now we've got to move on to the greater threat, which is whatever's going on with the crystals.
Although there is an interesting bit in Bahamut's, in Dion's bit around him.
Oh, his little character bio.
Yeah,
Prince of the Holy Empire of Sanbreque and leader of its noblest and most feared order of knights, the Dragoons. Dion is loved and respected by both his people and his troops, not least for the many times he has turned the tide of battle in their favour. Indeed, songs of the heroism of the warrior prince and his icon Bahamut, King of Dragons, are never far from the lips and lutes of Sanbreque. Wow. I'm not saying that. But all is not Dave Bards, but all is not well in the Empire, and the gathering shadows may yet be enough to quell Bahamut's light.
That's that last bit.
Yeah, that
last bit's quite interesting. So I think what they're saying is, Bahamut ultimately, I think he's someone who only...
Are we saying that he is a good guy in a bad system then?
I think he only turns into an icon when he has to.
Yeah,
I don't think
he doesn't want to do all
he
this
doesn't want to
shit,
do it, and I don't
yeah.
think, if they're being attacked now by Sanbreque, we haven't seen Bahamut go in there. You haven't seen him, wrecking shit. I don't think he will.
Yeah.
I think he is a last resort icon.
Yeah.
And he almost comes in, because he's that strong, almost comes in when he has to.
He just comes in and sweeps. Yeah.
Which is why the whole Odin rocket up could be like, oh shit, I'm gonna have to get him out. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get him out. I'm gonna have to get him out of the closet for this one. There's something confusing in the icons that you have when you're fighting Garuda, though. It looks like you already have Odin in your arsenal.
Yeah, I've seen that as well. There's a few weird little moments where you'd assume that you wouldn't have these icons yet, and you can see them there. Maybe it's just that what they've done for testing, and they've just thrown that gameplay footage in just to mess with us.
And it comes back, I think, ultimately to the point of we don't know how Clive has got his powers.
Yeah.
We don't know how he's got Odin's powers. We don't know how he's got Garuda's powers. We just don't know. Like, it could be...
This is what's making me think that Odin Sorry, that Ifrit is like the power to absorb other icons. That's kind of what it... And that would then explain why we see that Phoenix Ifrit fusion, potentially. Because it's absorbed the power of Phoenix and become like the ultimate fire icon, maybe? Or something like that.
It could be.
It's the Archduke's son.
So he's big Clive there. Medium Clive.
Yeah, he's kind of... this is definitely sometimes, yeah.
But yeah, we're about to see him get fucked up now. So we're sure this is Rogue Man.
Yeah, this has got to be the Rogue guy. He's pretty much stood exactly where the Rogue guy was.
That's impossible.
Still, oh my god, it looks so good. And this is the shit version of it.
The legacy
2 years later one looks so good.
has shaped our history. Enough.
That might be so.
What was that? I can't hear you over the top of the game, over the video.
It's just the way that it was talking about the history of conflict and it shaping the kingdom and things like that, and it's just focusing on Ifrit and Phoenix facing off against each other. Maybe that is the kind of thing that went down 1500 years ago.
It could be.
You see what I mean? Please, Josh, do a wake up. No.
I'll kill you. If it's the last thing I do.
I mean, how old are we saying he is there? Because he ain't got a grey hair, and I'm 32 and I got fucking loads of grey.
He's got to be about, I'd say mid to late, like 25 to 30. I'm putting him in there. So it seems like it's a substantial time skip. It's got to be about 10 years time skip, that.
Yeah.
Because he seems like, what, 18 maybe in the first bit?
Yeah, that's what I'd say. I'd say probably 15.
I'd say about
15
18,
between 15 and 18.
Younger,
yeah.
Yeah, possibly younger. Knowing how, because it's Final Fantasy, they always have to have like a 16-year-old superhero saving the day. So yeah, potentially. So then you slap 10 years on that, 26. That's probably about right.
Yeah, exactly. This trailer hits so much harder with the concept. Exactly that, Fletch.
Yeah,
this gives you so
really
much more detail.
Older Clive. I'm not sure, actually. Maybe. Who's in the room?
Could be. It's just a bit where we see Ifrit just tearing into Phoenix, or is that the next trailer? I think that's the
no,
next
we
one.
saw that.
No, actually, like
that was a minute ago. Yeah.
What, ruining him? I think it's this. No, I think it's this one.
Is it this one?
Right, so this is trailer.
This
is trailer
this
2.
Is the dominance trailer, isn't it?
Yeah, we'll watch this one. Again, this it feels slightly different now. We know a bit more about who people are.
15 when the shit hits the fan, right? Fair enough. So yeah, I'd say about 25. That's about right.
Yeah.
Who are we? What are the dominants? The power we wield, it wears away.
It's like going Super Saiyan.
It breaks us. It unmakes us. That its immaculate aspect might reveal itself. Immaculate.
Right. Who said Tiamat earlier?
I threw Tiamat out there.
My brother. That is not a wing. That's another head. That ain't Bahamut. That ain't a wing.
You make a very...
They aren't wings. That's another head. That's got to be another head.
Keep it rolling. Yeah, I was thinking the same with that one as well. Keep it rolling a little bit.
Yeah. Because you only get like 3 frames on it.
No, I think it could be like, you know, when the wing comes up and it's got like that kind of claw at the top of it, maybe. I don't know.
Right, let's wait until we see him later on, because his wings, they're all spiky, aren't they, his wings? And they're like, because he shoots lasers from them later. I'm sure. Oh, right. We'll come back to that. Oh, hang on. It's like a clip right at the last second.
I think.
I don't know.
We'll
see if we can. We'll see if we can get it again.
The icon.
There's going to be another war, isn't there?
Every day we delay brings us closer to disaster. We must move now.
The chaos he would wreak would
Well, that was
sweep all of
post-time
us.
skip against an Imperial Lancer.
There was two fights there. There was one where he had icon powers and one where he didn't. So this one here.
Yeah, it seemed like the one against the Imperial Lancer was like a 1v1, I think. Just
Yeah,
straight
look.
up.
And that's older Clive. He's got Phoenix and Garuda.
Yeah.
We then see older Clive again. However, he's got nothing.
But you can still use...
He does say, it says Phoenix Shift, yeah.
Yeah, so he seemingly can still... Maybe he's just got... to be fair, though, he is only level 13 at this point. So maybe this is in the process of getting Garuda. So he's got...
I'm sure you said something about this in one of your previous videos. And make sure you check out Sector 6's YouTube channel if you haven't.
Good thing.
About the party. I wonder if he can only use the icon power if you have that person in your party. Although you don't control them, you get their powers. So when you like this now, Clive doesn't have the abilities. You could have here, actually he has Garuda with, Benedicta's with him. Or something along those lines. Because they said obviously we have a party who... And what's interesting as well is in the previous screenshot it says Clive. Here it doesn't say Clive.
Yeah, it's just nothing.
And it's L2 to change between...
See, the thing that I justified this with is it's two different UIs, sort of.
Yeah.
So this looks like it's a 1v1 combat UI. So whenever you get dropped into like a 1v1 fight, it's that. Whereas the next one's more like you're just running through and smashing through loads of things. It's interesting how it's different, though. I mean, I think they're going to mess around with the UI a lot anyway, so we could see these two kind of come closer together as we get, closer to the game coming out.
And this is the
Sambrek.
I'm assuming this is
that mural in the background's interesting.
Yep. It's going to be Bahamut, isn't it? Because that's their icon.
Wonder if there's anything in that though.
Okay, yeah, there's Bahamut there. I think it's just Bahamut's looking over their kingdom.
Yeah. So
you've got some little dude here we've never seen before. I'm assuming little brother, mum, dad, and then that's I've forgotten his name. Dion. I'm assuming this is Dion because he's the dragoon, and there's his spear.
Chaos he would wreak would sweep all of Valisthea into the abyss.
And he's kind of basically saying to his dad, look, if you do what you're going to do, you're going to fuck everything up.
And then we see very, very high level, well, not very high level, but slightly higher level Clive with Garuda, Titan.
But interestingly, to your point earlier, we have the same UI here for a multi-enemy battle. So it's interesting. It might just be that it's not polished yet.
Orcish Mesmerizer as well.
Well, the orcs are in...
They're in Waloed.
They're in Waloed. Although Waloed owns all of...
Oh, yeah, because there's like
Ash.
a wild land there, isn't there? Yeah, the wild tribes, these tribes, that's it. Yeah.
So you see him doing like some pretty beastly moves. He's got Odin, Ramu, and Shiva at this point, level... But again, to Fletcher's point, he's now lower level, but you've got access to all three now.
So yeah, maybe that is the case then. Whoever you've got accompanying you at that time...
You have access to their abilities. So, whether Clive's like a conduit and can, he's never a dominant
Phoenix
himself.
There though, because I would have expected that he.
It is interesting. It's interesting to see as well. I've never noticed it before, but they brought Staggered back for this one.
Yeah, it's interesting that he's not got Phoenix on him because I would have assumed that he'd absorbed Phoenix at whatever event happened previously.
Yeah.
But if he's now not got Phoenix, maybe that's not the case, and maybe Joshua was with us in those earlier parts just then.
Well, it makes sense because in pre-time skip, you see him have Phoenix's ability in certain bits, and he said he's Joshua's shield, so it could be that Joshua's with us as part of the party. So obviously we don't know how he has those abilities or how he can use them, but we assume it's something. I'm just conscious of time. What time was Suna's announcement? 20 past?
Oh, shit, yeah. I mean, it's up to you. We can keep going. I don't mind.
See what everyone else wants to do. There's Final Fantasy VI are doing a thing where they've got like Baby Seal, Suna, and some other people. Suna was doing an announcement. I mean, we could just flick it up on here, couldn't we, for 10 minutes?
I mean, we could just keep going for 5-10 more minutes if you want. Finish off this trailer.
Yeah, we'll finish off his trailer, and then
We'll
we'll jump in and we'll see what Suna's got, because I think it's going to be something quite good.
You've got NDA-based things to do as well.
I've got NDA-based stuff to do, so very, very true. I've got some exciting things that I need to do, but unfortunately, I can't tell anyone about it, so I apologise.
No, I won't.
But it's very exciting.
I unite the dominants.
Not as exciting as Final Fantasy XVI.
Not as exciting as Final Fantasy XVI.
And found a new order.
Although I played it for 10 minutes earlier, and it was amazing.
If I take the field, our duel will shake the island to its foundations.
That's interesting as well, given that, you know, we're assuming this is the conflict between Shiva and Titan, and it's he's kind of basically gone, like, if I go out there, I'm gonna fuck shit up.
Yeah.
So they clearly know that something's about to happen.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that's
like the final warning that, like, don't make me do things.
Well, I wonder
don't
if it's...
make me do things.
I think it ties well again into that whole rescue thing. I wonder if everyone else is trying to rescue her from the Iron Kingdom. They've all bounded together as the council, and they've kind of gone, look, you basically need to get her out of there.
Yeah,
and he's kind of gone, if she comes out, I'm coming out, and if I take to the field, that is not going to end well. So I think it's kind of like you said, his last warning, going, find another way to get her out, because if I have to come out, I'm going to start throwing fists.
Yeah, he seems like a weird one, Hugo. Like, he seems like he's kind of the only icon from what I can see that's, well, no, technically no, because now that we know about Odin, but he's got a reasonable amount of power in his kind of kingdom, so he's on the council with, you know, he has a say in what goes on, whereas a lot of the other ones don't seem to have much of a say.
And it sounds
I suppose now Barnabas is there, so he changes
there's a clip as well where he's basically on the council for his own domain as well. And there's a bit where he kind of basically goes, look, you lot don't know what you're doing. You've basically caused a war. And he seems annoyed. He seems to be the voice of reason for his own domain.
Yeah, he seems like he's the one that's trying to reign maybe not so much reign everyone, but he's like, yo, you've done something very stupid here. Why am I now going to have to clean up your mess?
Yeah, basically.
That seems to be the vibe that he's giving. That's in the new trailer, that where he's saying our glorious leaders have led us into this war and all that.
Yeah. Exactly that.
This is it, Odin the Hammer.
Ifrit Titan.
See, look at that. Phoenix
Ifrit against...
absolutely stomp.
So, is that the bit where...
Phoenix just got one shot in.
Is that the Hellfire?
Absolutely, yeah. So that Hellfire from Ifrit just one shot.
I think this is your tutorial icon battle.
Yeah.
I think this is the bit, because look, I think you get him down to here. This is an unknown icon
anyway,
now. This is Icon of Fire, so we know that's Ifrit.
Yeah.
But obviously at this point, it's just they've not announced him as Ifrit. I reckon you get to use your buttons. It teaches you how to fight. You get him down to here, and then he automatically uses Hellfire. And
it's an unwinnable fight. Yeah.
Exactly that. Still no clue what that icon is. This one here. No idea what this is. Even with trailer 3, it's not giving us any more context to what this is.
I don't think I was thinking that it's like my thing where I was saying I think it's 3 things potentially joined together. Phoenix, Ifrit, and then whatever that is.
Titan,
the bottom half could be that stone thing maybe, but that's a big reach. That's a huge reach.
Oh my god, here we go. Is that the same face we saw earlier? You know, it is the same, isn't it? You know, the one we said with that we thought was Tiamat?
Yeah, I think it is. I think it is just on the shoulders, potentially.
Yeah, he's got beefy shoulders. He's got big beefy shoulders.
You've made him a chunky boy.
Yeah, I've made him a chunky losses. But that's the Odin Ifrit fight, that's incredible. You've got Mega Flare against Dantutukan.
That's crazy. Yeah, looking forward to that. Imagine being one of the troops on the battlefield next to that, like, what the fuck?
Yeah, exactly.
How am I supposed to contribute to this?
Yet for every citizen who falls, another can be bred. For every home that burns.
Yes.
It's like Mega Flare there. Yeah, Mega Flare.
I love that guy.
Every home that burns, another can be built.
Basically, I don't give a fuck who dies.
The Empire will live on.
Because at that point they don't. I know they haven't shown us Leviathan yet, and I reckon that's going to come out in trailer 4. Because they didn't give us Ramu's face there, they didn't give us Bahamut's face, which we've now got those faces in the next trailer.
Yeah, Leviathan's an interesting one because it's definitely there, but we've not seen anything relating to it other than that.
No.
Awaken.
Yeah, definitely an interesting one, Leviathan.
Awaken Child of Fate.
Awaken.
Child of Fate. Awaken Ifrit.
Imagine, right, just again, my mind going off on one. Imagine if it's Clive.
I think it is. I think both of them are, because, like, if you go back a little bit there, you see it's Ifrit versus Ifrit. Yeah, like, that is Ifrit versus
What I'm saying
Ifrit
is, you know the Man on Fire? What if that's Clive? And what if somehow someone gets into... What if the hooded man gets into Clive and makes him become Ifrit? Which is why they're like, shit, wake up, Joshua. I mean...
See, the thing... See, I don't know. The question is this Ifrit versus Ifrit fight, when is this from?
Yeah,
like, in my mind, I was kind of thinking everything that goes down with Phoenix goes down, and then when Joshua was killed, that triggers Clive to awaken Ifrit, you know, his Ifrit. Yeah. And that's when we get this quick Ifrit versus Ifrit. But that could very easily be a very, very end game cutscene as well.
Yeah,
so
exactly that.
There's not really any indicators on the screen or UI that we can get any information from.
No, very true, very true.
But yeah, there's a lot to think about. I think the big questions at the minute: what's going on with the two Ifrits? Like, why is the two Ifrits, and what's the deal with them? Like, you know, what's triggered them to emerge? Is it a cyclical thing? Has someone done something? From that line there where it's saying "Child of Fate, Ifrit awaken," it makes me think that it is a fated thing from 1500 years ago,
like a prophecy, and that mural is the prophecy.
Yeah. So then we need to figure out what Leviathan's deal is, because
I think he's just going to be I think he could be and that's why I come back to my original theory earlier about the man who wants to kill all the other dominants. I think he is a secret dominant, and I think he's Leviathan, and I think that's why we haven't seen him, because he doesn't want people to know he's a dominant.
Possible. The only other thing I think is maybe it is someone who was born in the Iron Kingdom and they've just gone, see ya.
Let's give a shout out. Whether or not he is the dominant
himself. It could be him, though, because it would make sense.
That's the icon for that land, and he's fucking just nice.
Yeah, and this is the thing as well, like, in the new trailer, we see it say about the war of the icons. Maybe he knows that war's coming. He's got a bit more information than other people, and he's trying to take out the other dominants under the guise of this purity so that he can be the surviving dominant, maybe. I don't know, it's a bit, again, that's another reachy one, but there's nothing so far that rules it out, so, you know, let's consider that shit.
Yeah, man. YouTube, Twitch, you know the drill, and we'll catch you all soon.
Peace and love, everybody.